So now here's another single deep colony. I'm gonna get my smoke going real good. I'm gonna give them just a little bit at the entrance, and then I'll pop the lid open. Get it going good, and I'm gonna put a little smoke under the lid. I can hear them roar when I lift that. And this is one I gave sugar to. All right. And they have consumed a good amount of it, or at least they've gotten rid of it. However, they've decided to do that. As I said, when I was feeding the sugar water, if they don't feel like they need it, they don't want it there, it bothers them, they'll carry it out the front porch. And I know some of them have done that. The other thing that I told you about solid sugar, and you can see this bee here is in there lapping it up. This is damp, right? Because the moisture from the warm bees is coming up here and is soaking into this sugar, and now they're up here lapping up that liquid, and so it's emergency feed, right? And it works very well. And so I've done this for a number of years. It works very well. So I have pollen patties with me. The colony I've inspected already had some pollen, quite a bit of pollen coming in. And what I'm going to do here is set that out of the way so you can see. Knock some of those bees off. And then most of that's on there pretty good. Just want to make sure the queen's not on there. Right, and I'm going to set this right down here leaning up. That way if they want to go back in the front door, they can. But I want to try to leave the sugar, and because it's been absorbing moisture, it's stuck to the top. There's some loose stuff, but it's kind of staying in there. Okay, so I look down, I can see there's capped honey still here, still here, still here. There's capped honey here. There's not as many bees on these 3 frames, but starting this seam all the way over to this seam, it's full of bees. I can't see down through there. So that's good. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames of bees, and I have at least 3 frames of honey here, probably 3.5. So I'm going to pull, because there's hardly any bees on this side, I'm going to pull this frame loose, and I'm going to start working from that side. All right. All right, back to this. I had a phone call. So I pulled this first frame out because there was honey, both sides of honey. So this colony is not going to starve anytime soon. The green drone frame is full of honey. I can see both sides. I don't need to inspect it. I'm just going to pull it to one side. This frame, pry over. Some bees fighting there. This frame is 3/4 full. That side's got pollen in it, so that's a nice food frame. This got my first sting of the year. Look at that. Yeehaw. All right, probably smashed it. Little smoke on that sting, and once you get them excited, time to put the jacket or the veil on. And I would prefer to work in a short sleeve shirt with no veil. Glasses, obviously, and my glasses and those veils do not allow me to see very good. So if I can not wear a veil, I like it a lot better. This frame is very full of honey as well. Half on that side, 3/4 on this side with some pollen in there. Okay, this next frame has quite a bit of quite a bit of honey in it yet. Feels quite heavy. One of the challenges that I've had in the past is as I'm pulling the frames out, because of all of the propolis and everything, they slip, and then I bang it down on the colony, and then they get upset. Try to avoid that if you can. So this frame has fresh pollen come in, and I can tell because it's bright yellow. Pollen from last year is really dark, kind of glossy looking, and fresh pollen is going to be dry, not powdery because they've mixed some honey and things in it to pack it in there, but it's you can tell it's dry. It has a very it's not glossy, so you can tell that by looking at it. So I can tell they're bringing pollen in. I'm going to give them just a little bit of smoke. Okay. Just to keep them calm. I like to pop both sides loose, make sure it's loose, and then pick it up so I'm not fighting it. Okay. This side is all open. A little bit of honey on the corners. Appears like they're getting it cleaned up for the queen to lay. This side has capped brood and some young larvae in it, and a nice ring of new pollen here. So I don't know if you can see that, but there's a ring of pollen all around here. It's all the way around here. So they've surrounded that nest with bright yellow pollen, and so they have food real close to where they're going to raise their brood. And I can tell the next frame, this queen has laid a great pattern of brood on this next frame, and it looks solid from what I can tell. If it is, I probably won't go a whole lot farther as far as inspection. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful frame of brood. And around that is larvae that'll be capped very soon. This side is a nice frame of brood and older larvae that will be capped soon. The next frame looks similar. So for every frame of brood that you have that's capped brood, in a week, within 10 days, you're going to have 2 frames of bees, 2 to 3 frames of bees. So very quickly, in the next 2 weeks or so, this is going to be another full box of bees, and they're going to be consuming food very, very quickly. So next week, we've got some rain. Start out nice in the early part of the week, and then we'll have, I think, some rain on middle of the week. And a little bit cooler temperatures. But with all of this brood that's coming on, they're going to be able to keep this colony warm. So what I'm going to do, since all of this was honey over here, there's barely, well, this has honey, I can tell. But I'm not going to inspect the rest of these 3. I'm just going to pull these 3 over and give that frame of honey that I took out of this side, I'm going to put it on that side, just to put the nest more in the center of the box, and bring some food closer to where they're raising brood. Because if it does drop off and get super cold, and I don't think it'll be super cold, but it'll be down in the upper 30s and 40s at night. So I'm going to bring a frame of food from this side where there's no bees, and I'm going to put it over here closer to the to where the brood is at. All right, and I'm going to put the capped side in. The other side is not quite empty, but it doesn't have a lot. So that'll bring it closer to them. Okay. I'll give them some smoke. They really don't need pollen, but I have a half a pollen patty there that I'm going to go ahead and pull the solid piece of paper off. And I'm going to put this right up front. And I'm going to put the lid back on it with all of that sugar on top. Okay, and you saw me bump it. There was bees all around the outside edge. I didn't really want to squish them. All right, go on over there, sister. All right. Okay, so there we go. Single deep colony, southeast Missouri, slammed full of bees, raising sheets of brood, double deep colony sitting next door that had plenty of honey 2 weeks ago that has died. People say you can't raise a single box of bees and get them to survive the winter. It's too cold. It's not too cold. That's not the issue. Health, you know, this one had plenty of food. I think they had so much space, they were having trouble keeping all that space warm. Condensation happens. There's other negative effects. If that is not 2 full deep boxes of brood, or two full deep boxes of bees, they can't keep that space warm. So what's the outtake there? Make sure that going into winter, your bees have the right amount of space for how many bees they have. If you have too much space with too few bees, they can't keep it warm. Condensation happens, and they could. This one got robbed out. I said there was, most of these frames had honey in them 2 weeks ago. They've got robbed out by all these other colonies here. I think there's 17 now, something of that nature. My goal is 20 in this yard, and I think we're just shy of that. You know, right amount of space for how many bees there are, and healthy. That's the outtake. They can die with plenty of food. They could just as easily starve to death. So you got to make sure that that's right. So that's all on that one.